When we look at responsible innovation, what we're talking about here is when we're building these technologies, do we think about the end user as we're building it? A company like Meta can build these technologies, but also rely and really understand that local companies are the ones that are going to actually build the solutions that are for local communities.
We have a special presentation that dives into the future of technology in Africa. So it's my honor to introduce Sade Dada. She's the head of public policy, Anglophone West Africa at Meta, and she'll be sharing insights on open and responsible innovation, enabling the growth of emerging technologies in Africa. In this session, Sade will explore how open innovation and responsible tech policies can drive the growth of emerging technologies across the continent. Now, I need that energetic round of applause again for Sade as she comes up.
Thank you. Good to see you. Hello, everyone. Good morning. How are you? It's really, really hard to follow such a great session. I want to start off by thanking the organizers for having us here. Great to see you, Honorable Minister Tijani. Great to see you, DG. It is an honor to be here. Meta has long been advocates of the tech ecosystem here in Nigeria. And I don't want to bore you too much. I know there's a lot of fun topics to talk about, but we wanted to take the time to address a very important topic, and that is open and responsible innovation. How do you ensure that as we're having these technological developments, that we're doing it in a way that is inclusive, that gives lots of opportunities across the board, and is done responsibly and ethically? So the African Development Bank, working with the Tony Blair Institute, put together some information about how AI can help with the development across multiple sectors in Africa. You'll see some of them here on the presentation. Light and power, food, industrialization, integrating, having multi-market integration amongst ourselves, and improving the quality of life generally. These are just some facts and figures of how AI can accelerate those developmental goals. You'll also be hearing today and tomorrow about some of the other aspects like entertainment, the creative economy. But I think it's important to recognize the magnitude of the type of technology that we're talking about and how it could be beneficial from a development standpoint, as we know that our countries are trying to hit developmental targets and raise people out of poverty, but also bring us to a place where we're leading globally on some of these elements of our society. In order to achieve that objective of increasing development, enhancing development, you have to do this immersive and innovative technology in an open way. And what do I mean by that? That means that you don't have just a select few that are developing technology and then other people do not have access to it. And that's why at Meta, we are very big proponents of open source technology. This means that developers can access the technologies that we build. For instance, we have a large language model called Llama, and we're now on the 3.2 iteration of it. People have access to be able to build on top of that. Why is that important? We know that it takes significant resources, financially, human capital, to be able to develop these sorts of technologies, and we don't always have the access to be able to do that on our own on the continent. But those that have access should be able to do it in such a way that we can then utilize that and build on top of it to create the solutions that we need. The only way that's possible is by having open source and open access. It's a good way to democratize access. One thing I'm so grateful for is that the Honorable Minister has been very, very point blank about this topic. He's made it very clear that as a country, we support open source, and that should be the case across all the different countries. The other thing about open innovation that we want to keep in mind is that in order to achieve it well, we have to have policies that mimic that. So what does that mean? That means whenever we're coming up with a new legislation or regulation, we should do so in a spirit of how do we have more people that have the ability to have access to these technologies rather than a select few. So one example is in the connectivity realm. Right now, the Nigerian Communications Commission is exploring ways to open up the 6 gigahertz band of spectrum. This band has propagation characteristics that will enable some immersive technologies to work more efficiently, lower latency, high throughput, so you can have better experiences. If you're thinking about openness, what you would recommend in this particular spectrum band is for it to be open for unlicensed Wi-Fi use, so that different players can have access to utilize the spectrum. This is just one example of how outside of the world of, like, say, AI by itself, where you're coming out with an AI policy, there are other types of policies that are necessary to enable it from a foundational standpoint. When we look at responsible innovation, what we're talking about here is when we're building these technologies, do we think about the end user as we're building it? How do we incorporate principles that do not leave people behind, that look at safety, that look at some of the things that you naturally think of when you think about ethics? Some of the key principles are fairness and inclusion, robustness and safety, transparency and control, and having privacy, security, accountability, and governance. Hopefully you would know that Nigeria is in the process of finalizing its national AI strategy. I had the pleasure of sitting on a working group for that strategy that was focused on ethics, and a lot of these principles came out in that. Having principles that are focused on both responsible building into the frameworks of these technologies, but also into the use, helping people understand how to use and deploy technology in a responsible way is extremely key for these technologies to thrive and thrive safely and more inclusive for society. So when you build in an open way and in a responsible way, you're able to come up with new technologies that more people in society have access to. Last month, the end of September, we had our annual Meta Connect, where we unveiled some of our new technologies around mixed reality, Meta AI, our large language model called Llama, and wearables. For mixed reality, we're talking about AR, VR technology. For Meta AI, I'm pleased to share that we launched Meta AI in WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram here in Nigeria in April. So you all hopefully have had a chance to play around with that. We have over 400 million active users of Meta AI globally every month, and it's been amazing. We will have more developments on how you can interact with it, with images that you can upload and edit in real time. So look out for that. For Llama, as I mentioned earlier, we launched our large language model 3.2, and there are a lot of users in Nigeria and across the continent. For wearables, we have new enhancements to create more AR capabilities, and one of my favorite enhancements is translation, real time, with our smart glasses. We also announced Orion, which is going to be a new iteration of wearables. So these are just some examples of how a company like Meta can build these technologies, but also rely and really understand that local companies are the ones that are going to actually build the solutions that are for local communities. So recognizing that, we created the Llama Impact Grant and the Llama Impact Innovation Awards. And we recently announced some of the winners of this award, and I'm pleased to share that some of them came from Africa, out of hundreds and hundreds of applications of folks who are utilizing our large language model. I'm very, very pleased with the solutions that have been developed. These are just a few examples of them. Digital Green, they're working on a multilingual AI chatbot that provides customized, on-demand agricultural advisory services. Jakarta is working on personalizing maternal and infant newborn health. And then we have Help Mom, that is a chatbot that delivers accurate and timely information for vaccinations. And Help Mom is from Nigeria. It is just amazing to see that people are able to use these technologies to build solutions locally. I want to share that yesterday we had our Llama 3.1 Impact Sub-Saharan Africa Hackathon in Kigali, Rwanda, and there were over 100 different participants in that who are utilizing the technology. It would not be possible if the technology wasn't made open, and they're learning how to also incorporate these responsible use factors into it. We will be having another iteration of this hackathon here in Nigeria coming up. So yes, you can clap for that. Look out for information about that. You can also currently, if you are building solutions right now, you can apply on our website for the Llama 3.1 Impact Grants. The deadline is November 22nd, so you can use your search engine of choice to look this up or come find me afterwards and get more information about how to apply. I hope to see some of you innovators doing just that. One thing that I want to leave you with is that innovation is an ecosystem. Every one of us has a part to play. So don't think that it's just for developers or it's just for the creatives. I love this particular slide because it shows the different factors that go into creating the innovation ecosystem, from devices to connectivity, creators, and platforms. And we each have the ability to play a role in the enhancement and advancement of the technology in these different ways. I'm not a tech-y person by profession. My background is in law, though I did do my master's in telecommunications. But now I get to play in this ecosystem and offer the knowledge that I have towards a particular aspect of it. And I think that it's really important to note that we all can contribute. So I hope that you'll join me on this journey towards making sure that we have open and responsible innovation. Throughout this particular track of the conference, you'll be hearing more about governance, regulation, and policy. I'll be speaking on a session tomorrow about digital infrastructure, and we have some speakers coming up who I think will touch on some of the things that we discussed in this presentation. Thank you so much.